So I thought it would be fun to watch everyone's year-end favorites videos and then compile the lists. That was my idea. But then I realized there's too many. There's too many videos, there's too many books, and I kind of got overwhelmed as I started doing it. But I did watch a few of people that I subscribed to. I did watch a few of the big name booktubers. What I was really curious about is to see if there was any overlap. And you know what I found out? There's not much overlap. Everybody has like really, really unique lists that don't really compare or are similar to anyone else's. So instead of doing like a real true overlap of best books of the year from everybody's videos, I just kind of have a little pick and choose list, okay? So I hope you guys find that interesting. And I'm gonna shout out these channels. Hopefully I get everybody's names correctly. And it's also interesting to see the range and different kind of books everyone reads. Of course, we all know that already. Anyway, so let's just see how this goes. I'm gonna try and go fast because otherwise this would take me forever. The way I grabbed some of these books is ones that stood out to me, like maybe that I would want to read, ones that we had in common from what I had on my list, and maybe ones that did have a little bit of an overlap. So it's just kind of a random pulling of some people's favorite books. Does that make sense? So first up, I watched MJ at Reading This Life, and she mentioned that she loved Spare, which is one that I had on my list. The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah, I think it was. Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is a book that I hope to read this year. And then Dune, I have a star by it because I think that was her top favorite book of the year. I remember now if she said that was her first time read through that one or if a reread. But I have read that one a couple times. I have a friend who absolutely adores that book. And it's an interesting story, but it is not my favorite. Not my favorite. This is so weird to me. A weird story, but definitely a cool science fiction story. I will agree. Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia. She kept talking about a book called Sword of Kaigen. Now I didn't write down the author's name, and she thought that one was amazing, and so that one jumped out to me. She also reads a lot of classics and a lot of Brandon Sanderson. So Oathbringer was on her list. Anyway, we all know I was trying to read Oathbringer this year. I only got through half of it, so maybe I will have it finished by next year. Maybe it will be on my list, who knows. And then she mentioned Agnes Grey and Middlemarch is a couple of classics that she loved. And those two books I also loved, Middlemarch especially. Oh my gosh, that book is insane. Dark Violent Dreams mentioned Hello Dove by Gillian Dowell as her most favorite, which she raved so much about this one that I really wanted to check it out. And then also she read The Outsiders, which I thought was awesome, and loved that one this year. Crystal at Fiber Artsy. She read a couple of books by Andy Davidson, The Hollow Kind and The Boatman's Daughter, that she raved about. She also read Crying in H Mart, which I noticed was on several people's lists. This is a kind of a crossover book. The Edible Woman, and she read a Korean one called Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, by Namjoo, which made me want to pick that one up. So I starred that one. I can't remember if I started it because I wanted to read it or if because it was one of her most favorites. Mark from Book Time with Elvis. He mentions The Wager, because I scribbled things so much I can't read my writing, by David Gron, I think it is. And that one seemed to be one that I had seen on a bunch of people's nonfiction lists. Also, he mentioned Les Mis as being one of his favorite fiction books, and he read a nonfiction that goes with it called The Novel of the Century, which was really intriguing to me. I am a huge Les Mis fan, both musical and book, although I've never actually read the full entire book. But I would love to read about the making of that book. So The Novel of the Century sounded really interesting to me, and he really pumped that one up. Melinda at Web of Stories. She read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote and said it was amazing. And she says, I think I'm a Capote fan now. And I have always been scared of him. So it made me think, what if I'm skipping something that I'm scared of that I might actually like? I don't know. And then I starred these two because these are the ones I would like to add to my list that she absolutely loved this year. The River We Remember and Mink River. Mink River by Brian Doyle. The River We Remember, William Kent Krueger, I think. Krueger? And then she also talked about a book called The Postcard by Berest, which sounds really interesting also. Bookish. He mentions The Wager by David Gron also. That's the other one. That's where there's a little bit of a crossover. Okay, and then we have this. This is a booktuber a little bit new to me. I just barely subscribed to. Kim Reads and Reviews. She talked about Tin Man by Sarah Winman, Crying in H Mart, and Simu Liu, We Were Dreamers. Really want to read that one too. I love him. And Tin Man, she went crazy about. So Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand mentioned Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And I saw this one on a couple other lists too. Mine also. And she talked about Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is a book I'm reading right now for book club. So I'm so excited, and I can tell already I'm going to love it. And she also talks about the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I haven't heard of this one that much because everybody's always talking about The Court of Thorn and Roses. So I'm like, whoa, maybe this one's really awesome too, and I should check it out. And then Sarah also raved about Fourth Wing and its sequel. What's the sequel called? Something Flame. Anyway, Fourth Wing and its sequel. She's like, you have to read them together. So I'm really excited that I have both of them, and I am ready to go reading them together. We'll see. We'll see if I feel that way. Do you think I'm going to go from one book straight to the next one? I can do that. I have them both. I'm excited. I don't know when I'm going to get that one going, but. And then Gem of Books, also a new channel for me, I think. Raved about Demon Copperhead and Elantris. Demon Copperhead, I didn't get my hands on this whole year, and I'm dying to find that one. I think I'll just have to put it on the Libby and wait for it to come available. And Elantris is Brendan Sanderson. I think it's his debut novel. So I love seeing that on people's lists. And then a couple of bigger name YouTubers. Haley Pham, some of her favorite books that jumped out at me was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow Again, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. Red Rising, Carrie Soto is back. That one's on my list for this year because it's a book club book. Happy Place. It's gonna pop up on my Kindle any second. I've waited for almost a year for it, and I bet you anything, it's gonna come when I have a gazillion other books going on at the same time, but I'm gonna have to drop everything and read it. Gabby Reads mentions None of This Is True. I think I saw this one on several people's lists, and I didn't write down the author. I guess this one's kind of a mind-blowing, bendy thriller kind of a thing. Happiness Falls by Angie Kim, which is one of the books I think that Tori ended up with after our book haul this year. So I have to read it. And Yellow Face, which I see so many people talking about that I really am going to have to check this one out too, I think. And then Jack Edwards, the biggest booktuber out there. Yes? No? I don't know. He's the biggest in my mind. There's probably somebody else that you might think is bigger, but he reads stuff that I've never heard of, you guys. He reads really, really eclectic kind of things. He reads like, how many books did he say read? 200 books a year? How does he do it? He's involved in so many things. Okay, and I could go on a rant about him for a while. But anyway, he also put Demon Copperhead on his list, and an author called Claire Kaigen, which I saw on several other people's lists too. And his book is called Foster. But I guess there's several of this author's books that people loved this year. And I've never heard of this author, so now I have, and I will probably see those books everywhere and be like, I gotta read them. Those are the ones that I had on my list. So I'm going to make a list of them all in the description so that I will have a reference also so that I can keep my eye out for them. I'm sorry if I skipped you. I couldn't do every one. I just did the ones that popped up and the ones that kind of searched through a little bit. So, but yeah, let me know if any of these books are ones you want to read this year and if any of them ended up on your best list. And which ones you think I should bump to the top. And if you're curious to know about what ended up on my list, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch that one right now. Until next time, happy reading, bye.